What's going on, everybody? It's Josh, aka the Mosa Muscle, on a new episode of the Next Up Podcast. Welcome back is the real thing we should be saying. Because we know you tuned in, goddammit. Colin, talk to him. Say what's up as you take a sip in your IFBB Pro Cup. See that? Elite.
Everybody, how we doing? Cousin Creamy, aka Colin, aka IFBB Pro, Colin Marco, coming at you.
That's how we're, is that how we're introducing ourselves now?
That's how I'm
That's fine.
introducing myself.
Yeah, exactly. Not me. Show loser is what I should introduce myself as. But
Jesus Christ.
we got questions. I love when we have questions. It's just a more fun podcast. All right, so they're kind of all over the place, but I try to like batch them together into similar topics. First question, kind of training. Is progressive overload more important than exercise selection for muscle growth? Kick us off.
I mean, yeah, to a certain extent, I would say definitely, because realistically speaking, if you're training in the gym, you're doing shit that just does not feel good, what the fuck are we doing? Because, like, exercise selection,
No, no. Is progressive
that,
overload more important than exercise selection? Is the question. I might have said
ah,
that wrong the first time.
yes, I'm just gonna fucking put a yes on that, and then I'll explain after I hear your yes or no.
I'm gonna say no for argument's sake. I want to debate this fucker. I'm gonna be honest. Go ahead.
I mean,
Actually, I'm going first. Fuck you. All right. So, exercise selection is more important than progressive overload for muscle growth because I'll tell you right now that you can start at a 135 bench and you can build that thing all the way up to 315 and still not have a chest.
fair.
Or in other cases, you can get pinned by 85 pounds in your first time in the gym alone, and then you can bench 425 after not benching for 3 years and still not have a chest. Painful.
I always went on the very bro side of it, and the idea of progressive overload. It's the idea that you're building strength, but at the same time you're building muscle because the only way to get stronger is by having more muscle. And I get the whole joint strength, ligament strength. Fuck you, it doesn't make a difference. Yes, obviously your ligaments and your joints will get stronger as you progress throughout the gym, but at the same time, yes, exercise selection definitely does matter, but at the same time, if you're not progressing the logbook and week by week you're doing the same weight, same reps, realistically speaking, I feel like you're wasting a lot more time than anything else. Because if you're not
All
getting
right.
stronger, especially in a bodybuilding context, because if you want to talk in a powerlifting context, yes, absolutely. I mean, there's motherfuckers who will squat 600 pounds and they don't have massive quads, or they can bench fucking 425 and they don't have a big chest. But that's also because their style of training is much different from a bodybuilder style of training and the stimulation of muscle growth compared to the idea of just getting strong as fuck. Because if you one rep max it every single week, you can progress definitely, but at the same time, you're not going to build a big chest, or you're not going to build big quads, or you're not going to build a big back. So I get it. There's like caveats to everything, but at the same point, it's like realistic. I feel like it's more of a goal, not even a goal orientation, but more of a goal driven aspect of what you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to get strong as fuck? Or are you trying to look strong as fuck? I look strong as fuck. I'm weak as a bitch. Like my quads, no, I'm just kidding. My legs are actually strong as fuck. But like,
I was just
no,
about to say, I was like, yo, that's such bullcrap.
it's more so because again, like I always make the joke of I look strong, but it's all show. But like in reality, like yeah, I'm strong, but it's like there's people who are smaller than I am who are stronger than I am, and I mean, maybe I'm just kind of giving myself a backhanded fucking little statement here, but like strength and size doesn't necessarily. Am I fucking going back on exactly what I'm trying to make my point on?
Oh, I'm gonna prove you wrong right now. I've just been waiting for you.
I feel like I'm double crossing myself right now.
You ready for this? You get a beginner as a new client. never been in the gym before, you're going to tell them to get stronger in your progressive overload. You giving them a single arm lat pull down with their arm across a bench, super optimal, or are you going to tell them to go and row a barbell? Because in your scenario, if it's more important, then it's just get stronger, right? Doesn't matter what you do. But if exercise selection is the key, and this is a beginner, we need to put muscle everywhere, barbell row.
Fuck you. Fine. Move on.
God, I love winning. All right. Another one just like this. And this one we will debate too. Is
Fuck.
volume more intensity or more important than intensity for hypertrophy? I really think I just like playing devil's advocate because I have a fight for both of these.
I have a fight for both, but honestly, this one I would definitely like to say.
Let me say why
No,
this
see,
is a loaded question.
I'm going straight off the back end of my progress. Fuck everyone else's progress. Straight intensity. Because if you're not bringing intensity to your sets, then realistically speaking, I mean, you will grow, but how long is it going to take you to grow? Like this past off season was by far my most progress I've ever made, and I was fucking ruining myself, literally getting dragged out of the gym after my fucking sessions because I brought so much more intensity than I ever have, and I grew the most I ever had. Granted, on the backside of that, yes, I'm enhanced. Yes, I was pushing 5 to 6,000 calories a day, but this is also the year in which that I trained the most intensely than I ever have, 110%. Now, does volume play into certain roles in your training? Absolutely. But I feel like it's very muscle dependent in the sake of what works better, volume or intensity, when it comes to growing a certain muscle group.
I like that. I do like that. I like that last point you said. My thing is they work on opposite spectrums. So I'm looking beginner to master here. So looking at the beginner client, they are not going to have intensity. How are they going to grow? They're going to grow through volume.
Right.
You just keep adding sets,
Mm-hmm.
or you add an intensifier that's realistically like, yes, is that adding intensity? Yes, but really it is adding more volume. They're just doing more reps at a pivotal point in the set.
Yep.
So, and we can even go back to like, I am no master, so I'm the middle part, but like my progress this year was the most progress I ever made. I did a whole lot of volume
Yeah.
across the board. I was doing 31 sets of legs twice a week. My then issue is that I also will drive myself into the ground, but that's because the intensity is a baseline. If the intensity goes up from there, I probably couldn't have done that many sets.
Yeah.
So the intensity was just a baseline of like I'm going to die on the set no matter what. I don't know where I could have went up from there. I mean, I guess I wasn't adding intensifiers with the stupid or dumb things with friends sets, but like those weren't very often. Um, but the problem is with this question is that they work on an antithesis. So if volume goes up, you can't increase your intensity the entire time. Sooner or later, you're going to burn out with CNS fatigue.
Yeah.
If you push your intensity super high, but you're not doing enough volume for a muscle group, you're also in a bad scenario. So like, and why what Colin said is 100% something I agree with is like, think of arms, right? If you're saying intensity is going to be more important than volume, then you could do one set, one drop set on arms and call it a day. But arms can get beat the fuck up. They can take a lot of volume. They can take a lot of beating. They can take drop sets. But I don't know about you, but when I'm doing a failure set of a curl and then I do a drop set, my contraction's not as good on the drop set. I'm not able to elicit as much force as if I just stopped, rested, and did it again.
Yeah.
So I think that question is such a loaded question that it makes it really hard to answer either which way.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Just because, again, there are people who can go and touch a dumbbell and their arms will grow. Unlike, your boy, I have string beans for biceps. So it's for me, I've had to really go after it to the point of just blowing out volume. There's some movements where I'll go heavy as all hell. And for me, it's great. I love it for the sake of I push the intensity super high. I get a crazy pump. It feels great. But on the back end, you can't. I personally don't. There's so much diminishing return if you continue to push that throughout an entire session, especially when it comes to biceps. Triceps can take a fucking beating. Biceps, it's yes, they can also take a beating, but like you said, the contractions get to a point in which that it's not you the amount of intensity you're trying to drive with the same amount of volume, it just there's no true return on it. So it's the idea of backing off, or like you said, instead of dropping in an intensifier, resting and then going after another set. Because this is not the end. For the sake of arms and shoulders, like smaller muscle groups, for me, I found more volume just because it's not even volume in the day, it's volume throughout the week. Because realistically, I'm in the point now where it's like, if they're not sore, I'm hitting them again. And they can recover very quickly. Triceps might take a little bit longer, maybe an extra day. But realistically, if I'm not sore and I don't have dedicated arms that day, I'm hitting arms again. And it's just for shoving more volume in the week because I got to get these bitches to grow.
And let's put the cat. We have two caveats to put here. One, Colin and I grow completely opposite of each other. His legs grow from 3 sets a week. My legs grow from 30 sets a week. My upper body, I could look at a dumbbell and my back is going to grow. Colin needs a lot of volume there. So, like, we're going to have very varying opinions that kind of come down to the same thing. Um, the second caveat is like being enhanced, you ain't really getting super sore. So,
Yeah.
your legs will get pretty goddamn sore, but like outside of that, you're not really getting super sore. So, it's that caveat of saying something could, like, my back. I trained back yesterday and I tried to kill myself on back. Ask Anthony. Like, we went hard. I'm not sore. So that idea is that I would then be able to go and train back again, but like no, because it's a bigger body part. So there are special rules to those. We're moving on because this question was just like yes and no. We're going to agree on this one though. Cardio necessary for bodybuilders in the off season. Cardio is necessary,
Yeah.
period. You can
Yeah.
stop the question there. Is cardio necessary? Doesn't matter for whom, doesn't matter for why, or I guess it does matter for why, but doesn't matter for whom. Everyone should be doing cardio in some capacity, minimum 4 times a week, getting your heart rate up to like 60%. That's,
Yep.
I'm not even going to say how long to go, realistically.
Yeah. No.
It doesn't matter. Just get your heart rate up to 60%. Do over 10 minutes just so that you're not a lazy fuck. Um, but like cardio is just necessary, period. There's too many benefits to say it's not. If you don't know the benefits of
Look it up.
cardiovascular, like vascular is going to be your veins, cardio is your heart. The one muscle we kind of really, really need. Don't be an idiot. Your diaphragm is the second muscle that you technically really need, but just saying. Um, you wouldn't breathe without it.
I know.
Do you need to train to failure to maximize muscle growth? I'm going no. Hard
I would
no.
I would say no.
Because again, just going straight back to the biceps here, you give me 20 sets of 10 reps where you're mm, 5 reps away from failure. By the end of that session, I think your arms are going to be better than if you did 5 sets of, or realistically 3 failure sets of bicep curls. Um, I found this with triceps recently, and like Colin said, he struggles to get his arms to grow. My arms have damn near doubled in size since prep. And it's just a matter of like I don't train my triceps to failure. I train them until there's so much blood in them that it doesn't feel like they're moving anymore, but they're still moving. Like
Yeah.
I know that I'm still moving, but that contraction's gone. It's just there's so much blood back there that I'm just pumping blood into it. And that's not a failure set per se. So are we under full agreement on this one?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, there's not much I can really say else besides that.
All right, cool. So I got a coaching kind of question on this one. This one should be good, actually. Do you believe meal plans work better than macro tracking for long-term results?
No,
Why?
diet fatigue. That's purely for the sake of, if we're talking long term, for the sake of lifestyle and even bodybuilding. There takes a special breed of humans to be able to eat the same thing every single day and not get tired of it. And again, in the world of bodybuilding, you have to be able to enjoy and eat like a dog and eat the same thing every single day for the most part. But for the sake of the general human who is trying to improve their health and for the long term, just enjoy life, enjoy balance, I think macros are something in which that if everyone knew how to utilize them in a proper manner while fulfilling your daily nutrient needs with whole foods, then yes. Because I'm not saying that it's the if it fits my macros, that is stupid. I think if it fits my macros is very, very stupid because you're not going to get the same nutrients from a serving of Lay's potato chips that you are from, air fried potatoes or diced potatoes or whatever case. Or even for the sake of subbing in a protein mug cake full of bullshit instead of a protein shake. I feel as if you're able to utilize macros to the best of your ability while still maintaining a good nutrient dense foods across the board. It is going to be better for the longevity of as far as physical health, physical well-being, and mental well-being. Because again, there's some days that you just don't want chicken. There's some days you just don't want beef. There's some days you don't want protein powder. If you can know when to sub certain things in and fit your macros that are properly fitting in with a nutrient dense meal, then at the same time you're going to feel better. And it's also the idea that diet fatigue and mental fatigue of eating the same thing every day is not going to set into the point in which you're making yourself crazy and then you go overboard and then you just go eat whatever your mind pleases. So I feel like being able to fit in different foods for the sake of subbing in, like macro subbing, is something that can be better for the longevity due to the fact that you're not following such a strict, concrete plan every single day. And for some, it works, but for most, it doesn't.
Let me ask you something, because I think this is where I was going to go and going in the opposite direction. Are you calling that macro tracking or are you calling that macro matching?
Macro tracking, oh, I mean, more it's macro matching, I guess you would say, because
Okay,
you're not
so
necessarily following a meal plan, you're following a macro plan.
here's why I was going to say meal plans work better. Meal plans give you a structure, they give you a base. As you move through a meal plan, as a general lifestyle type of person, you normally will ask for a swap sooner or later because you get tired of chicken or beef or rice or potatoes. So, as a responsible coach, you make changes, right? Therefore, that person sooner or later should learn through repetition of this happening how to macro match. And that's why I would say a meal plan works better because it gives you a set structure to work off of.
So I agree with you 100%, but at the same time, for the sake of long term, like in the short term, yes, because you learn what foods are really going to agree with you, what you feel best on, and you build a baseline. And once that initial baseline is built, at that point, because realistically speaking, if you don't have a good baseline of knowledge when it comes to nutrients, when it comes to macros, when it comes to that, there is a learning curve, 100%. Once that learning curve is surpassed, at that point, you have enough confidence to be able to macro match and sub and this, that, the other, in which that you can make the proper decisions to, again, instead of let's say chicken and olive oil, rice and veggies. Instead of that, you want beef. You eat like a 93.7 beef with potatoes and a vegetable. Again, it's just the idea of taking the fat that you're getting from your olive oil and even the trace in the chicken, and you're just putting it towards a beef meal for the sake of change and variety. Or for the times that you forgot to make your chicken and you're like, fuck, and you're in a pinch and you need to do beef. Great, whatever. But I think it's more so that in which that, again, you have to initially build that baseline, because once you build the baseline, then you can start wandering out. But for someone who's very new to it, a meal plan 100% would work better, just due to the fact that they can just read it, look at it. Okay, cool. That's what I'm eating. Great. But like you said, once you get tired of it, and you will, you move towards the idea of macro subbing, whether it's macro subbing through your coach, or even you can do it on your own once you have that baseline of knowledge. Because again, it gets to a point where you don't have to ask your coach every single time if you want beef instead of chicken. Now, if you're doing it and subbing it thinking that it's calorically the same, now there you're fucking wrong. But if you're doing it for the sake of subbing in and making proper substitutions for, like you're subbing it in properly where calories will match, sure. But again, the baseline still has to be established initially.
I think we're kind of sort of saying something similar of there needs to be structure. Either way,
Yeah.
there needs to be a structure that's built from there.
Mhm.
Like for myself personally, I build my clients' diets around what they like. So if they all of a sudden stop liking eggs, I just pull the eggs. So it winds up being macro matching the whole time anyway, but that's just what it is. I'm going to answer this next question solo really quickly. Should bodybuilders avoid artificial sweeteners? Next question. Um, is nutrient timing, this actually goes in line with the other question. So, is nutrient timing peri-workout nutrition overrated? Now, based off of what you said, I'm going to say that you're agreeing that it's overrated, because if you could swap your pre-workout meal, that is chicken, olive oil, rice, and a veggie, to beef, potatoes, and a veggie, those are going to digest extremely differently. They're
Yeah.
going to affect your blood glucose extremely differently. So therefore, you're saying that, yes, it is overrated. And I'm going to agree with you in a certain time period. Off season, full off season, not using insulin, not using any sort of glucose disposal agent. You're eating 5,000 calories. Your nutrient timing no longer really matters. It's you're eating so much food that your blood glucose is going to most likely stay elevated for most of that day anyway. Your digestive system is going to be pushing through food most of that day anyway. You probably can say that it's overrated at that point.
Yeah.
In a deficit, in a hard cut, you're definitely going to say that it's underrated, because if you can have, depends on how big of a human you are, but if you could have an intra workout shake that has like 20 grams of carbs and that brings you to life during that training session, that just improved your prep. That improved your deficit. If you're someone who doesn't get affected by that, and you can have a little bit more food throughout the day, or in your pre or post workout meal, then again, severely underrated. Whatever's going to affect your performance in a deficit is if it's over or underrated.
Yeah. That's
Having
true.
your carbs around that workout window is going to be massively important in a deficit. In a bulk, you're going to be having a lot of carbs anyway. Doesn't really
Yeah.
matter.
I mean, there is some extent though in the off season where, because again, like since working with Jack and everything, I've become a huge advocate of timing most of your food around your training. I know a lot of coaches will do, let's say you're on 500 carbs, X amount of fat, X amount of protein, whatever, but more so just the carbs. It's like, we'll do 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. And that's great. And I'm not saying it doesn't work, because for most it does, but I'm just saying from my own beliefs and what I've done, what I run with personal clients, is that I do a lot of timing around carbs around your training. So again, you'll have 120, let's say 120 or 108 fucking pre 40 intra, and then like 160 post, and then you have now 200 carbs to play with throughout the rest of your day. So you have a huge insulin spike around your training, again, to push performance, but also to push recovery. But then throughout the back end of the day, you're 60 40 whatever, 60 40 40. So it's like obviously those insulin spikes are not going to be as drastic. Also, I'm team cereal, so there's some sugar going into it, and we can all get into the debate about that, but whatever. But it's more again like I feel is timing nutrition around training. I feel like is a big importance, and it's something that I've really started to follow a lot closer, and especially with myself and also my clients that I utilize, just due to the fact that again, pushing nutrients in a window that you're going to be creating damage in your body that's needing to be recovered. I feel like a good bolus of carbs in there is going to be something that's going to be essential for both performance and also recovery.
Now I have a question for you.
Mhm.
When it comes to training, balls out leg session, balls out back session. Have you ever walked away either nauseous or just with no appetite?
Yeah,
So how important are, if you're saying that, right? You're saying that you want to have most of your food around that time. I'll tell you, on my hardest leg days, it's hard to get my intra down.
yeah,
Granted, my current intra is like 100 grams of carbs, but on leg days specifically, uh, my next meal sometimes it's like that's not going down for an hour and a half. I just can't. It hasn't happened recently. It used to be more so when I've had rice post workout, I just didn't want to eat it. But that idea is like if you're saying that, then I'm now having more rice an hour and a half after my workout, or more carbs an hour and a half after my workout. My blood sugar is probably pretty low by this point, unless there's some sort of compensatory mechanism going on here. Just because of how hard I pushed, and my liver's just pushing out glycogen and it's staying elevated. But realistically, at that point, then the rest of your food for the rest of the day, even if it's lower carb, you might as well have just divided that out. You didn't miss your anabolic window, but your anabolic window is so long that it's all the food for the rest of the day.
yeah.
It's 24 to 48 hours or something like that. Like it's so long for the rest of the day that you don't actually need that spike. So it's not something to live by.
Right. No, 100%. I mean, the big reason why I always say to it is because around the training window, especially, it's like you can be hungry, but to your point, you can get done with a brutal session and just not be hungry whatsoever. But at the same time, when you're trying to get in, six, even like for instance, 600 plus grams of carbs for some, where you want to do X amount of rice, but if you're doing again, most people do cooked weight. You're doing like, let's say 400 grams of rice a meal. That's like 120 grams of carbs. But 400 grams of rice is not a small amount of rice. So it's like to do that every single meal. Whereas if, for instance, like for me, I'll do cereal, where it's like 175 grams of cereal, Frosted Flakes specifically, is like 150 grams of carbs. Like that's going to go down so much easier than a big bowl of rice and chicken. So it's more for the sake of allotting as much easy food going down. It's I would say it's more the idea of being able to get a good bolus of carbs down due to the fact of which your food is being so high. Now, when it comes to like a prep where your food isn't that high, again, can you just spread it out accordingly? Yes, absolutely. Again, depending on what your coach does, but because there's times where you'll do X amount of carbs, and if you're doing if you're doing a lot of food around your training, then you're going to have to end up doing some carbless meals at the end of the day. So again, coaches will make the meal plans to which they feel is the best for the client, but again, it all comes down to, especially in a dieting phase when you're hungry, it's like, yeah, it's great that you get X amount of rice, X amount of cereal, whatever around your training, but that in return, you get two carbless meals at the end of the day. So it's like this push and pull to that one.
And the funny thing is, I like that. I would rather not have carbs later on in my day if I could have more around my training window.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, most do just
that's
for the sake that, again, carbs are energy. So it's like at the end of the day, do you really need it?
exactly. I also just I like eating less in prep towards the end of the day. Just you wake up lighter. It's a mental thing. All right, and this I think is probably the most important question that we got today. And it works perfect. We just got to make them short answers. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that shit. Does bodybuilding build more confidence outside the gym than inside it? 100%. From both of our perspectives, I could say 100%. And it's not really bodybuilding. It's more so just lifting weights because I think bodybuilding in the gym, you're never big enough, so it almost knocks down your self-esteem. But when you walk through the grocery store and you're either the most in shape person or the biggest person, it feels pretty nice.
Yeah, you're getting your
Um,
fucking ego stroked all day.
yeah, so like I think just going to the gym in general, feeling better when you look in the mirror and you instantly feel better about yourself, whether you are 400 pounds and lost 20, or you were already lean and now you're shredded, that is a huge confidence booster. It's going to push you to like levels that you didn't know you were capable of. You're going to turn around and say like, all right, I'm ready to attack this day. For you, when you were fat, did you have the same confidence as you do now?
Fuck no.
When I was also like, I can't say I was ever fat. I was very chubby. I was very boyish. When I was boyish, I used to have like titties. Like I'd wear big hoodies to hide in them. Like I did not want. If I went to the beach, I live on the water, bro, and like I go to the beach with t-shirts on. I wouldn't take them off. I was extremely self-conscious. I started going to the gym. All of a sudden, started taking my shirt off. Now the funny thing is, I have abs year round. I'm never fat, but I'm still self-conscious to take my shirt off sometimes. I know I'm one of the bigger people in the room. So it's one of those things that in the gym, because I spend so much time in the gym, I definitely don't have as much confidence. But when I'm out and about and walking through places, like you get the people who
Yeah.
look at you and they do that. It's like it makes you feel kind of good, especially if you're like hiding in a t-shirt or something.
Yeah.
So I think it's not just bodybuilding, but like going to the gym, changing your physique builds more confidence than just about anything else can.
Yeah. And it's like you said, it builds a lot of confidence. A lot of people look at you and it's like they'll give you like weird looks, but it's you have to understand it's like you're such a standout because again, the main majority of the population is just they either don't go to the gym, overweight, whatever the case may be. But it's like when you hold yourself to that level, it's like some people look at you and be like, oh, like I don't want to look like that. But it's like, at the same time, your confidence level goes up. You're walking around, big chest, nice tall posture, and it's like it feels good because whether they're looking at you for shitty reasons or they're like, holy fuck, dude, it feels fucking good because the people who are gonna hate on you about it are just fucking like they're just jealous, all things considered. And again, there's some people who are
Peanut
just like
butter and jealous.
there's people who look at you and they're just like, yeah, I don't want to look like that, and they genuinely mean that, and that's great. Like you live in your fat shell, that's perfectly fine. But for the main majority, it's like they look at you for the sake that they're insecure about how they look. And I get all the time walking through Walmart, like with fucking Josh said, oh fucking, oh look at, and it's like, oh yeah, it's good, it's an ego boost, but at the same time, it's just like I would never go out in a cutoff or a tight beater or anything 5 years ago when I was fat and spilling over myself. Where now it's like when I think I'm fat and spilling over myself, I'm still leaner than 99% of the population. So there's so much push and pull to it, but all honestly, like end of the story. End of story. It's just it gives you so much more confidence outside of the gym.
I got a quick story. I had somebody walk into the gym the other day and they go, yeah, I don't want to look like you. And my immediate response was like, do you know how fucking hard this shit was? Do you know how long I had to work for this?
Yeah, it's like
And
I,
it's like, it's not overnight. I promise you it's not overnight. This is a good physique is something that's a testament of time. It shows that you'd stay dedicated to something. So start building yours today. This is probably going to end in 30 seconds. So start building yours today. Build your confidence by building your physique. Peace.